Now, broadcasting from deep within your stepmom's basement, it's the Plex podcast.
So please excuse my sarcastic tone. I'm a bit underwhelmed by the sample shown. Mr. Bistro fraternity guy, you got my asshole bloodshot eyes. Get drunk and fight every night. Idolize Bradley, belittle women's rights. Homophobic, racist, and don't give a fucking hey. Do you think you can drive a bigger truck? So wear your baseball cap to decide to let everyone know that you're a nice guy. So cool, we're so impressed. Lots of chicks in a barrel chest. Cause you're a real man. Punch for punch, gonna piss in your face while you're passed out drunk. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. He's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. She's a nice guy, but all of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. I just can't understand it. Fuck defined by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, jerk off. I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, jerk off. Read into the lyrics, cause everybody gets their just desserts. As long as you remember that nice guys finish first. You're next on the list. Such a nice guy who speaks through his fists. Prick with a penchant for messing with heads. A broken nose for dinner and breakfast in bed. Alcoholic, paranoid, and suicidal too. But you'll probably kill her before she gets away from you. Screws in the blood, letting cry. All your friends say that you're a nice guy. Have a drink, this one's on me. Look, you're doing fine, losing to your disease. Comatose, I'll pack your bags. Bury you like Katrina. I'm a nice guy, you're a nice guy. We're all nice guys, but all of you are assholes. He's a nice guy, she's a nice guy. Hey, Tom Bone's a nice guy. All of you are assholes. Nice guys rule the planet. The public demented. Put a body by deception and lies. Social Darwinism and an overdose of pride. Fuck off, jerk off. I don't wanna hear it. Fuck off, jerk off. Read into the lyrics. So let the parties will quench your thirst. As long as you remember that nice guys finish first.
Everybody, welcome to the Plex. We do this show on Sundays at 7 p.m. Pacific right here on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. If you're listening on the podcast, go ahead and follow the Twitch channel. Check out a live show sometime. We're live a few nights a week, and it's generally a lot of fun. Well, or maybe it's not. You can support this project at patreon.com/Echoplex or at eplex.store. And I'm producer Dave. You can find me on Grindr, and this is what the people want.
I don't hate the cops. And there's a person inside when the truncheon stops. Oh, don't hate the cops. Oh, when the raiders come, who will protect the shops? Don't hate the cops. They're a sensitive bunch if you don't stop throwing your rocks. Snap, crackle, pop is the sound of a taser. Your body drops. Don't hate the cops. Oh, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops. Oh, don't hate your local police. Cause they don't do nothing wrong like your local police. Got rid of the corruption and the racism is gone. They've been keeping the peace, keeping homeless folks out of the parks and malls. Got a cure for your social disease. Follow the law, don't hate the cops. 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 Put your hands above your head and show you're not afraid. I'm the fearless judge that your skin color's gonna get. And if you die before the sun comes up, the paperwork will take forever. Well, it might have worked out a little bit better if you didn't hate the cops. Cause they don't do nothing wrong, don't hate the cops. You can't blame them for just doing their job, don't hate the cops. Well, you gotta wonder, how much would it cost for you to be shot at and stabbed at by maniacs and drunks? Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops. Don't hate the cops, don't hate the cops.
So Donald Trump threw a party for America's 250th birthday. And, well, here is first the clip we have is from a rehearsal. We say this a lot when people are doing these kinds of events or whatever, and they don't hire union people, union sound people, union people to put the stage together. Things don't go well. And here is an example of that. Here's a piece of the stage falling and almost hitting somebody. Maybe. Or not. Wonderful websites these people have going on here. This is a live show. Let's see if we can get this some other way. Let's try this again. That's not great. Well, that didn't play. Let's see if we can get it some other way. Fucking great show we got going on here. Here we go. Here is the piece falling. One more time. Oh my god. That was like not a small piece of the stage that just fucking fell down. Jesus Christ. Not great. Things not going great for the Trump 250th celebration. Also not going great at the beginning of this show, but hopefully all this like resolves itself. Here is more evidence that America's 250th birthday party is going well. Here's a skydiver with an American flag. Well, that's not good. Here, we can get it this way. I mean, I hope everybody's okay, but Jesus Christ. So that's not going super well. We got more. Here is, this is, there was a storm. There was a storm and people had to seek refuge when the storm was coming.
Due to approaching severe weather, we are temporarily pausing the event. For your safety, please proceed to the nearest exit immediately. Take shelter in your vehicle or a nearby permanent building. Please follow the instructions of event staff and law enforcement as you exit. The Freedom 250 social media platforms will provide updates. Attendees can return to the fairgrounds as soon as it is safe to do so. Thank you for your cooperation.
So, as you might have guessed, everybody got out of there in an orderly fashion, right? Everybody got out of there in an orderly fashion. There was no chaos or anything that might have happened. Definitely no chaos occurred. Or maybe there was chaos. Yeah, they're just telling you that a storm is coming. Like, most of the people seemed okay. They were just walking, but there were people running like there's a fucking dinosaur or something chasing them. Here's more scenes of the chaos as people are unhappy that the Secret Service, etc., have told them to go away, to dip. Just not very well handled by the people handling this. Just all around. Just not handled super well by the people there. I'm super glad I didn't go. We got more here. This is people ended up having to hang out. Well, not having to hang out, but they hung out in the African American Museum. Like as one of the places they sheltered from the storm. So that's also, it's, I guess they said there's 5,000 people. It doesn't look like 5,000 people. Yeah, it doesn't look like. I don't know if the person posting that it was 5,000 people was joking or just wrong, but it doesn't look like no 5,000 people. But and then we got one more. This is somebody who was at the event. They're doing they have a little video of themselves at the event in front of the Washington Monument.
I'm on the National Mall for President Trump's Salute to America for America 250. I was so excited to get a ticket. Everything is going great. And then this huge storm's coming in and they told everybody to evacuate. But nobody knew what that meant because we're like, how do you evacuate a mall? And so nobody really did it. We all kind of just hung out and it's not raining yet. So nobody really understood what was going on. And then a bunch of really psycho people, my fellow citizens, started running to the seats. Crazy, as if they were running away from something, which was my first instinct about the whole situation. I'm eating potato chips that somebody left half empty because I'm that hungry.
Wait, what?
When that happened, it really freaked out the Secret Service, and they're behind me, so I'm gonna keep walking. I'm told by a law enforcement official that they were going to start gassing people because people got trampled. It looked like it was gonna happen, and it did happen. And anyway, so then they got really forceful about the evacuation situation and are really yelling at people to get out of here. So I'm getting out of here because they're mad. And I really don't know what to do because they've given us some government buildings to go to. The African American Museum, which is a couple blocks that way, or the Reagan building, which is a couple blocks that way. I know. I'm on my way out. Yep, okay. So I gotta actually just get out of the perimeter right now, and
as long as you're behind the fence, you should be fine.
Behind the fence, I'll keep going. Thank you. Okay. I will report back. I have some really cool video I took today, but of the flyover that started, I really think we'll get back to this.
She thought that they were going to get gassed because people were like refusing to leave. She's like, I don't know how you evacuate them all. They did tell us where to go. She's like walking away from the places she was told to go. So let's not forget that last week they had the Great American State Fair last week. And here's Michael Knowles debating a 10-year-old girl about the Salem witch trials at last week's Great American State Fair.
But the one area where the Salem witch trials went a little far is, I would say, they weren't organized enough. So you had these like random judges, kind of burning these ladies. I don't know if they were guilty or not, but I think if it were more formalized, built up a little bit more, maybe with like a grand inquisitor or something, that would have been a better way to do it. I am so impressed. I don't know if they were guilty or not. Motherfucker, there's no such thing as witches. You can't possibly be guilty of witchcraft. Like there's no witchcraft. Like, what do you mean? I don't know if they were guilty or not. And this is from last weekend, but more and more video keeps showing up from last weekend. This is more from last weekend. This is Dr. Oz and former Superman Dean Cain at last week's Great American fucking State Fair or whatever, talking about how great the crowd is. Just straight up lying to the people that are standing there. Like there's 25 people in this shot.
And it's because there's tons of people here. It's a huge space, and it's just going to get more and more crowded.
Not only do we have a lot of people here, we have people that you want to have here, like Stacey Garrity. That woman's going to be next governor of Pennsylvania.
There
right
we
there.
Go.
Yep, look at her, that beautiful red hair.
And it's because there's tons of people here. It's a huge space, and it's just going to get more and more crowded as the week goes on.
Not only do we have a lot of people here, we have people that you want to have here, like Stacey Garrity. That woman's going to be next governor.
There's a ton of people here. And fucking whoever's holding on the camera is like, I don't know about this. It was a bust. That thing last week was a bust. Here's a shot from Fox News. It's pretty short. It's 15 seconds, but all these shots from Fox News last week were just hilarious because they went through all the trouble to go set up their fucking cameras and have their anchors out there and do everybody's makeup, and then there were like 8 people there.
From the Great American State Fair.
But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more to be the man who walked 1,000 miles.
Oh, but there was the crime of the century happened, and Newsmax is on it. So I don't know if you know this, but there was a crime. There was a terrorism actually at this. Newsmax is all over it.
Criminals off the streets.
Yeah, Abigail, speaking of making it more safe, we still know that there have been some, I'm going to say, specters cropping up of the 8647 numbers. What do you make of that? What is the president's response to all of that ongoing, I'm going to say, vitriol, essentially?
It is absolutely sick that these Trump deranged whack jobs are vandalizing our beautiful national mall, our beautiful national monuments, all because they hate President Trump. I mean, is nothing more to say other than it is sick. And President Trump has made his message known loud and clear that if you break the law, if you vandalize our monuments, you will be held accountable. And I just think it is really sad to see that there is this division amongst the left on our country at a time when we should all be coming together to celebrate America's 250th birthday, something this administration is doing, making D.C. safe and beautiful for everyone, regardless of their political affiliation. There are sadly folks on the left who can't have that same unified spirit that President Trump is projecting ahead of our 250th birthday.
Abigail.
The crime of the century. The one that seemed like it was in the reflecting pool, that might have been a crime, actually, because you're not supposed to deface the reflecting pool. We've learned that. But the one that the lady was just painting something, nah. It was just a painting. Homegirl can paint whatever the fuck she wants. So this one's from the Discord. We're moving on from the celebrations that Donald Trump has been doing. This one's from the Discord. This is the This is the Iranian foreign minister talking about the Strait of Hormuz on Al Jazeera English.
Joining us now on the News Hour is Richard Schmierer, who's a former U.S. ambassador to Oman. He also served as the Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Near Eastern Affairs.
Oh, this isn't the Iranian foreign minister. This is a former ambassador.
Good to have you with us on Al Jazeera. So we now see both sides, the U.S. and Iran, citing different articles of the MOU, Article 1 versus Article 5, to justify opposing actions. Is there still, in your view, a viable diplomatic off-ramp, or has the MOU already lost its credibility as a stabilizing framework?
Well, Folly, greetings to you and your viewers. I think, unfortunately, these back-and-forth skirmishes over the last few days have really jeopardized the MOU writ large. But as you noted, specifically, the issue concerning the Strait of Hormuz is what is causing the current tension. I think the U.S. rightly considers that the MOU requires Iran to not interfere in transiting the Strait of Hormuz. And the fact that the U.S. seems to have been working with Oman to allow ships to go through Omani territorial waters, and that Iran seems to have reacted by attacking those ships is something the U.S. cannot accept. So I think in general there's a kind of questioning why Iran would not want to benefit from the MOU, why it is seeking to undermine the MOU, and I think President Trump will try to be more patient, but I think at the end of the day he will have to react if Iran continues these kinds of attacks.
Iran's foreign minister, when he was speaking earlier today in Iraq, referenced Article 5 of the MOU, suggesting coordination with Oman over the strait after the 60 days of negotiations. Do you think Iran and Oman can legitimately claim greater control over the strait under international law? And how would Washington, you think, and global shipping respond to such a claim?
Well, I think at the end of the day, international law makes it clear that this is an international shipping lane and that all countries of the world have the right to free commercial transit of the Strait of Hormuz. Now, it is the case that Iran and Oman are the littoral states on the edge of the strait, and therefore they have some responsibility for overseeing security, safety, and they should be doing that in cooperation with the other countries of the region. And this is what is called for in the MOU.
Right.
Nothing in the MOU gives any state the right to control the Strait of Hormuz.
Ambassador, you served in Oman. How far would Muscat go in coordinating with Iran without jeopardizing its U.S. ties?
Well, when I was there was always regular coordination between Oman and Iran on safety and security in the strait, sometimes to the chagrin of U.S. policymakers, because Oman did need to maintain good relations with Iran to ensure that safety. So I think Iran is trying to use its goodwill with Iran. Oman has long had good relations with Iran, but I think its patience is probably being tested, because when ships are attacked in Omani territorial waters, that's something the Omanis cannot accept. So I hope we will continue to see cooperation, but I think the Iranians are really pushing the envelope.
Yeah, and the Iranians would also say that President Trump is escalating the rhetoric significantly. We heard him talk about finishing the job today. How do you interpret this? Does Washington still see the MOU as binding?
Well, I do think Washington wants the MOU to continue to be in effect. There are many elements of it which are actually advantageous to Iran. So I think the expectation in Washington is that Iran will see the advantage of implementing the MOU. So yes, I think the U.S. still stands behind the MOU. But there are limits, and it's not unusual for President Trump to make some very strong statements. But nonetheless, I think the diplomats want to continue the dialogue under the MOU. So I hope we'll see a de-escalation in the coming 24 to 48 hours, and the diplomats can get back to their discussions.
Ambassador, what would each side need to concede in order for this agreement to work?
Well, I think Iran needs to understand that at least for the 60 days of this negotiating period, it needs to stand down from interfering in any way in shipping through the strait. And then the U.S., I think, does need to be forthcoming during the 60-day period on the financial elements that are basically promised in the MOU, which will be of great benefit to Iran. So I think if Iran understands and accepts its situation with the Strait of Hormuz, and the U.S. reciprocates by moving forward on the financial arrangements, I think we can get to a point where both sides see they're benefiting from this MOU.
Thank you so much, Ambassador, for talking to us. Very good to get your insight. Richard Schreimer, former U.S. Ambassador to Oman, joining us there.
So it sounds like it's all fucked up, right? It sounds like the agreement basically isn't worth the paper it's written on, and that the United States continues to attack Iran, and Iran continues to strike shipping vessels going through the Strait of Hormuz. So it seems like we're like kind of in the same place we've been for quite some time. But don't worry. Here's the President of the United States. We've at least won militarily, whatever that means.
Well, there'll be a meeting on that tomorrow in Doha, and to go into Qatar. I think they've already left, or they're just about getting ready to leave. So we'll see how that goes. But we're doing very well on that front. But the meeting in Doha is going to be perhaps important, perhaps not. We're going to find out. But we're winning militarily. It's almost won militarily, I would say. And it's really very simple. It's the denuclearization of Iran. We don't want them to have a nuclear weapon, and they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. And they've agreed to that, in all fairness.
We've won militarily, but the fighting continues. And they're not going to have a nuclear weapon, even though we destroyed all their nuclear weapon stuff just a couple of years ago. Or like last summer, actually. We obliterated all of it, but they're still trying to do it, and I don't know what to do here. This is all fucked up. This was just like, there was no reason for any of this to happen. What a fucking mess. What like a stupid thing. What a stupid thing to do. Anyway, we're moving on to birthright citizenship. As people might know, the Supreme Court upheld birthright citizenship as outlined in the 14th Amendment, but only 6-3. So 3 of the Supreme Court justices are just like, I don't know. I guess it says that in the 14th Amendment of our Constitution. I don't know about it. Here's Stephen Miller on birthright citizenship, which if you could imagine, he didn't like it very much.
But this is absolutely a deep knife wound in the heart of the American Republic. Look, Jesse, I can step tomorrow onto the deck of a 747. It does not mean that I am the pilot of that plane and I'm qualified to fly it. Just physically being on U.S. soil does not make you a citizen or qualified to carry on or capable of executing the inheritance of this country.
Except if you were born here, yes, it does, because that's what the Constitution says.
We have people from all over the world, from third world nations that on their own would have never invented the wheel, let alone...
Does he think America invented the wheel?
Technology, let alone medicine, let alone air travel. And they can just come into the country, have a baby at a hospital, paid for by you and me, and then that baby's automatically a citizen. That baby can sit on a jury when he turns 18 and sit in judgment of you, and sit in judgment of me, and sit in judgment of our loved ones, can decide who our mayors are, our governors are, our presidents are.
Yeah, these people all hate the 13th and 14th Amendments, right? Yeah, the 14th Amendment kind of unequivocally says that if you were born in the United States, you're a citizen. Their argument is like, oh, well, they meant that it was just like you got to be a citizen if you were a slave, but they didn't mean anyone else. And I'm thinking to myself, well, that's not what it says. If they said it was just like people who were formerly enslaved, if that's what they meant, I figured that's what it would have said. But the 14th Amendment doesn't say any of that. Mike Johnson also not a fan of birthright citizenship. Here he is at like some kind of press conference when he finds out that the Supreme Court only 6-3 upheld the 14th Amendment as being constitutional, which is a weird thing to say.
So birthright citizenship, which as I speak has not come down yet, but it helped hundreds of thousands of formerly enslaved people in Louisiana Now, do you, as a constitutional lawyer and representative to the descendants of some of those people who were enslaved, agree with the president that it should be done away with?
What was I missed the first part of the question.
It helped hundreds of thousands.
No, what was the
It has
reference?
not come down yet, but do you agree with the president that it should be done away with?
What hasn't come down yet?
Birthright citizenship. The last case is not.
Oh, birthright. Sorry, birthright citizenship. Yeah. Okay. Look. Yes. As a constitutional lawyer, I got lots of opinions on this. Okay. Understand what the framers did, and when we added this to our constitutional order, understood what the.
So hold on. That wasn't the 14th Amendment wasn't put in place by the framers. He means like the people we call the founding fathers. It was put in place after all that. This guy's an idiot.
Intent was, I think anybody who looks at this, oh dear, what they rule.
Here we go. As children born in the United States, parents unlawfully or temporarily present are subject to the jurisdiction of the United States and are citizens at birth under the 14th Amendment Citizenship Clause.
Mm-hmm.
What's your reaction to that?
Well,
this is real time.
I need to read the opinion, okay? But obviously you could say that's a textualist, originalist view. However...
A textualist, but you mean by reading the text?
I do think that this has been grossly abused in recent years, okay? And
he said that's a textualist view. And by textualist, I think he means read the text of the 14th Amendment. It still boggles my mind that three of those motherfuckers were like, well, it says it in the Constitution, but we're inclined to overturn that, which I don't think the Supreme Court has the authority to do, right? I don't think the Supreme Court actually has the authority to overturn the 14th Amendment. That's sort of what the point of the Constitution is that you would need another amendment to overturn any of the amendments in the Constitution. But don't worry, I think I'm wrong about that. Here's Senator Jim Banks, Republican from Indiana, on Real America's Voice, Steve Bannon's network, saying that we probably don't need a constitutional amendment to overturn a constitutional amendment. This is just wrong, but let's see in what way he thinks that he can do this thing that is undoable.
And the third thing that we have to do, Jack, that's just as the most important thing that we can do between now and the end of the year is pass the Save America Act, but also pass legislation or a constitutional amendment to ban birthright citizenship. President Trump said already today that we can do it through simple legislation, not a constitutional amendment. I want to explore every single option that we have to ban birthright citizenship through the Congress. If the Supreme Court says that the president's ban is unconstitutional, then we should find a constitutional avenue to ban it, to stop it from happening with
Yeah, you'd need the 28th Amendment, would have to overturn that part of the 14th.
Birthright tourism and some of these loopholes being exploited by foreigners. We got to do everything we can to stop it.
Okay. I mean, you could try to stop people from coming in here and having their kid here, which I suppose that wouldn't violate the 14th Amendment, right? You could be like, oh, you look preggers, can't come in. But then like now you're discriminating against pregnant people. I don't know how that works. So we're going to go on to the reflecting pool. Somebody put algae in the reflecting pool. Who puts algae places? They put algae in my pool though.
Say is Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? Barack Hussein Obama spent tens of millions of dollars trying to fix it, and it was a disaster. Sleepy Joe Biden spent millions of dollars trying to fix it, and he was unable to do it. But we did it, and it works beautifully. We got rid of the algae, which they put in. They put in algae. Who the hell put in algae? They had a couple of people with signs, protect the algae. Can you believe this? This world has gone crazy. But today I'm proud.
Who puts the algae? Who puts the algae? Who puts the algae? Nobody put algae in there. Sometimes fucking standing water just gets algae. Nobody put it in there. Someone ruined it. They ruined it with their bare hands. They ruined the reflecting pool. Here's Box Wine Janine Pirro talking about that. Ruined it. Bare hands. Bare hands. No tools needed. No knives. They just used their bare hands. Ruined it.
Was this part of the pool specifically, was the sealant already partially removed? Did he rip it back and just describe in detail? Because he maintains that it looks the same as it did before he arrived. That's his.
You know, I'm not going to get into the evidence, but what I told you is what our witnesses saw and experienced. There was an effort, a violent effort to rip up the sealant from the bottom of the pool. And irrespective of whether or not, you know, we think that, you know, there is some situation that preceded it, we can state and prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he caused damage, and that damage is over $1,000.
$1,000
with an expert.
Is that because
come to the trial?
It has to be drained. Like, is that because it has to be?
You can.
drained?
We'll hear all that at the trial.
Did he have any tools, or was it just his bare hands?
Right now, we believe it's his bare hands, both hands.
So does that indicate in your belief that it was probably damaged before, or do you believe that he?
He damaged it
Further, but do you believe it had already been damaged before?
He damaged the pool.
Before he touched it.
He damaged this pool.
He's so bad at this.
I'm glad you've got that evidence. Come on in the grand jury, you can testify. Next.
Thank you for your time.
So I think my understanding of what was happening here is that the coating had come up, and so you were able to like reach in, you could grab like the coating, it had like peeled off. And so it was some of it was like basically touching the surface. And so my understanding, all this guy did was grabbed it and like, I don't know, wanted to check it out. He's like, oh shit, it is peeling. Grabbed some of it and wanted to check it out. That's it. That's all he did. I guess it's technically illegal, but that would be such a fucking stupid thing to send somebody to fucking prison for. Like, it would just be an absolutely fucking dumb thing to send someone to prison for. Here's a CNN panel on political corruption. Just different political corruption, different presidential administrations. It went super well. Super well. CNN doing a great job this week.
Kind of giggle a little bit because he's making money blindly off the back of his supporters who apparently don't care, which is fascinating to me.
But also not care, but I also think that this is a tale as old as time. I mean, this starts out, remember when Grant was accused of his whiskey sales, and we had LBJ, we had Clinton, we had Biden, obviously. But the thing is what I think's different, and I've said this from the beginning, is the Sons especially are doing this wide open.
Yes.
So the criticism of Biden's son as Hunter, yes, was that he did it in secret.
I give you all credit because look, they're not breaking the glass.
Transparency is not a justification.
They are stealing out the front door.
It doesn't mean
just
because are we
you
accusing the president of doing anything illegal? No, we're not. He's really good at making money and has been for a long time.
Lucky. Hypothetically, if you rob a bank and you don't have a mask on, it doesn't make robbing a bank.
Is he broken a law? That's the part. Like, he's not broken a law.
I'm saying.
He's been
my point
successful
is
before he
doing
became president.
something that is unethical out in the open.
What is
does
unethical?
not necessarily mean that it's right.
And I listen to what you said, but like, I think it's awesome when people in America succeed. I love the fact that we have a president that was really wealthy when he came in. And he keeps doing business with his family.
So
there's nothing wrong with it.
So hold on, you would have been fine with the so-called Biden crime family if Biden had just been transparent. If Hunter Biden had just been transparent about what he was doing.
Wait a minute. Wasn't it public knowledge that Hunter Biden worked for Burisma? I mean, wasn't that like there I don't think it was a secret.
The question
you literally brought Don Jr. and the guns.
No, let me ask you.
I'm answering the
let
question.
me ask you.
Yes.
If Hunter Biden had just been transparent, if he had just said, you know what I'm doing, I'm using my dad's name to make money, you would have said, totally above board. We're fine with
If he was doing actual businesses, Burisma was massive corruption. He didn't know anything about the industry. Don Jr. and guns, a great example. I hung out with Don Jr. at the SHOT Show 20 years ago in Vegas.
What do the Trump sons
He's been involved in guns for 20 plus years.
What do the Trump sons know about mining rare earth minerals? What do the Trump sons know about robotics? What do they know about drones?
A lot, clearly. They made a lot of money off of it because they actually invest in it. Let me ask you this.
Man, everybody's fucking talking at once.
What do you know about cryptocurrency? What do you know about rare earth minerals? I'm invested in all those things.
Respectfully,
I'm invested in all those things. And by the way,
like everybody was just talking at once. And that one dude was like talking over everybody. What a horrible fucking segment from CNN. But you know what? They actually have an even worse segment. This one's just, I put in the docket. This is at least a little bit anti-Semitic, but I would suggest this is a lot anti-Semitic. This is a CNN guest talking about who appears to be more Jewish.
But on the Jewish thing, because
wrap it up real
quick.
quick.
I was saying he is Jewish. He might be the Democrat that can thread the needle, because even though he's Jewish, he's very critical of the Israeli government, very critical of Benjamin Netanyahu. He has credibility on that issue. So it's possible that I think he could fill that lane in between the two extremes of the Democratic Party.
Ask Scott Wiener how that's working out for him.
Yeah, as a Jew, some people read a little more Jewish than other people, and John Ossoff may not read as Jewish as Josh Shapiro does, for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, he just doesn't seems way more Jewish. Shut the fuck up. I don't give a fuck. Like, yo, these people are like, hey, if you don't like the government of Israel, you're anti-Semitic, and then they're like, I don't know, man, this guy just reads kind of Jewy to me, and it's like, oh man, you shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. My God. Here is Ben Shapiro, Jew checking. I think that's the word we would use for this. Jew checking Brad Lander, who recently won a primary.
Meanwhile, move over to District 10, where Brad Lander, who, again, just going to say something about people like Brad Lander. So Brad Lander will loudly proclaim that he is Jewish. He is Jewish only in the sense that he was born into a Jewish family. He has no relationship with Judaism. He has no relationship with the Torah. He has no relationship with Israel. He has no relationship with anything of importance to Jews.
I thought that was how they decide. I don't know enough about this, but I thought, like, if your mom's Jewish, so are you, right? I thought that's the rules. I think it's a dumb rule, but I think, isn't that the rules? Isn't that what we've been told this whole time?
Calls himself a Jew so that he doesn't have to call himself a white guy. That's all. Brad Lander is the worst sort of human being for doing this sort of thing.
What, for being Jewish? Wait, why is he, wait, what? Why is he bad? He's like, I'm Jewish. Jewish is a culture, a religion, and an ethnicity. So what the fuck?
On the fact that you were born into a Jewish family in order to side with people who hate Jews is an amazing, amazing feat of moral depravity. But that's who Brad Lander is. So he was running against a guy named Dan Goldman for Congress. Now, Goldman is an incumbent, right? Now, you may remember that Dan Goldman is a very, very far left congressperson. So far left that he managed Donald Trump's impeachment. He essentially has the same voting record as Jasmine Crockett. According to GovTrack, he's in the top 15% of left-wing Democrats. What was his sin? Of course, his sin was he doesn't hate Israel enough. Again, this is the test, because understand, in the same way that anti-Semites like to use the word Zionist when they just mean Jew, far leftists like to use the word Israel when they just mean America. Again, doesn't mean that.
Wait, what? No.
But every critique that they level against Israel is a critique they really want to say about America. That's
what?
Really the thing.
That's come on, Ben. What do you think? You think left-wingers in America are like fucking hesitant to criticize America and American foreign policy? Like, what the fuck? Man, Ben Shapiro, as his network starts to fail, is just getting way worse at all this, honestly. I don't know, man. Don't Jew check, homeboy. If you don't like his policy, you don't like what he stands for or whatever, fucking say that, but don't be like Jew checking some other Jewish guy. Seems kind of mean, right? Ben Shapiro is mean. He's being mean. I think that's all that's going on here. So this is interesting. This is a former New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio versus Sean Hannity.
Along with New York City Marxist Mayor Zoran Marxist Kami Mamdani. He's friends with, by the way, our next guest, and that's former New York City Mayor Comrade Bill de Blasio. You know, I used to say that affectionately. They almost make you look moderate, and you were not a moderate, just for the record.
No, Bill de Blasio is like a moderate Democrat. Bill de Blasio is a moderate Democrat.
I'm going to take that as a compliment, Sean. Thank you.
All right. Let me go through.
Look.
Yep.
Wait. You were such a crucial figure in the growth of the MAGA movement, which to a lot of mainstream Republicans was considered absolutely radical. Outrageous things were said by Donald Trump and a lot of other folks in MAGA that never would have been said by Republicans before. And yet it tapped into something that a lot of Americans were concerned about and were feeling. I don't know why there's a double standard here. So on the left of the Democratic Party, you're hearing some really blunt, I don't agree with all of it, obviously, but some really blunt sense that the status quo is not working in America. I think that's part of what Donald Trump was saying in his own way. So I don't think it's surprising that given everything that's wrong in our economy, given how much people are struggling to make ends meet, that
Damn, she's about to use her hand to make a phone call. You see that? She's like, hold on, I got to call somebody.
who are saying this status quo is broken are actually going to get this kind of energy and enthusiasm behind them.
Okay, let's take a look at the three candidates that your friend Zoran Marxist Kami Mamdani supported.
I like that you give him two middle names there. Two middle names.
Well, I only gave you one. Maybe that means I like him more. I don't know. I kind of like you more because you're more
because he's white, right? Because he's not. His last name isn't Mamdani. Let's be clear about. Why Hannity has a little more, just sort of inherent rapport and respect with this guy.
Come on the program. Let me go through the record, for example, of one of the people that he helped elect. And this woman, Arlazia, whatever her name, Chevalier.
Dude, what do you do all day? You could have learned how to say her name. What do you do all day, Hannity?
Her positions. Because I think people need to really understand fundamentally where they stay. She, again, they call themselves Democratic Socialists, but she wants to abolish the police completely. Let's go through it all. She wants to abolish America's prisons completely. She wants no American borders completely. She doesn't want anybody deported, even people, illegals, convicted of murder and rape. A day after October the 7th, she showed up at a pro-Hamas rally in Times Square. That would be the equivalent of losing.
A pro-Hamas? Nobody is pro-Hamas. Now, there's a difference, but like if I was in Gaza, I'd probably fucking end up joining Hamas. But that's different than sitting here in California and being pro-Hamas, right? You can hold both of those. You can hold two separate thoughts in your mind on stuff like this.
30,000 Americans in a day, if you extrapolate out the population, brags about using the American flag to wipe her hands. Now, is that your party? Is that who you are? Would you vote for her?
Watch it be all I did.
Sean, the question is, why did the people of that district vote for her?
No. That's your question. I asked you a different question. My question is,
she's the Democratic nominee.
Hang on. Would you vote for her?
She is the Democratic nominee. I would vote for her, yes. But let me tell you what's going on here. Because you can do your list. Sean, you can do your list. But what's really happening is
Wait, did she call Joe Biden a rapist? I thought they liked that. I thought they liked that shit. Posted fuck Kamala Harris. European plague.
What? You're not American?
I did look into her. She's a little cooked. Hopefully she gets rid of some of this cooked stuff.
A lot of Americans, Sean, a clear majority of Americans do not think we should be in a war with Iran, including a lot of people who supported Donald Trump. A clear majority of Americans think that what the Netanyahu government has done in Israel to the Palestinian people is wrong, and America should not be supporting it. So listen, wait, let me finish.
We're not talking about Israel.
She won.
No. We're not talking about Israel.
Wait. The question
we're
is,
talking about.
Just give me a second.
She wants to abolish.
John Hannity does this all the time. He has somebody on, apparently or ostensibly because he wants that person's point of view, and then gets mad at them for expressing it. He's been doing this for like decades. There's a famous Christopher Hitchens clip where he went on there after fucking Jerry Falwell died. And then he fucking said that it's a pity that there's no hell for Jerry Falwell to go to. And then Sean Hannity started clutching his bitch ass pearls, and fucking Chris Hitchens, probably drunk on like half a handle of expensive scotch, was like, well, don't invite me on your show to give my opinion and then say it's in poor taste for me to do so.
No borders. She wants illegals that commit murder and rape to not go to prison. And I'm asking you, you are the mayor of New York City. I'm asking you if you would vote for this lady.
He just said that if he was in her district, he would. He just answered your question.
You'd vote for this lunatic?
And I'll tell you what. No, I don't think she's a lunatic. I disagree with her. Sean, I can't believe you've never voted for someone you had some disagreements with. I disagree with
Not
her
like
on
this.
something, but I want you, Sean, for you and your many, many viewers, this is what's going on in the Democratic Party. A lot of people who vote Democrat are saying we want to see Democrats take on Trump, not cower before him. They think ICE is totally broken. I believe in secure borders. I don't believe in ICE. They think what we're doing in the Middle East is wrong. They think that nothing's being done to address the cost of living. You go down this list. When these candidates talk about Medicare for all, there's a whole lot of Americans who would like to have better health insurance, who can't make ends meet. So I think you should realize why people are voting for these progressive candidates, because they represent change.
You would never abolish the police. You would secure the border. She wants to seize public property.
Well, she can't. She's one member of Congress.
She doesn't want private ownership of property. Now, you're telling me
I looked into her. I don't know. I don't think I saw her saying that we should abolish all private property.
A single member of Congress doesn't make those decisions.
You were the mayor of New York City. You're telling me that this does not seem so over the top that it's going to destroy your party. I think she, Mamdani, AOC, Bernie, Pocahontas, Mamdani.
Nobody likes Elizabeth Warren anymore. I knew who he's talking about.
I think you guys are destroying your party, so I guess I'm okay with it.
Sean, first of all,
man, he was playing the hits. So, I don't know. Sean Hannity's stupid. And Bill de Blasio was just like, I don't know, I'm a Democrat. If she was the nominee in my district, I'd vote for her. I don't see the fucking problem there. More on socialism. This is from Newt Gingrich, who I keep forgetting is alive still, and he's going to tell you a little bit about socialism.
What we're finding is the Mandamis of the world, the AOCs of the world, they're down at 10 or 15%, but they're in extremely democratic districts, or they're up against really weak opponents. The fact is, when we get to, I'll give you an example. I sent out today on X and on social media, does Mandami think that Madison Square Garden should be at 78 degrees during the wedding this weekend? Now, I guarantee you, think about it. Do you think Taylor's going to want to stand there sweating? And
no, nor should she.
78 degrees? This 78 degrees is like a normal temperature that it is.
But here's the big lesson. Socialism takes power from you. They take care of the powerful. They take care of the guys with connections. And they rip off the rest of us. So Mandami is saying their policies block them from creating enough electricity to have normal American level air conditioning where you get to pick what you're willing to have in your house. So instead, they're going to try to impose across all of New York City a 78 degree uniform temperature unless you're powerful, you're famous, and then of course there's an exception.
Well, it's
so 78 degrees is like a normal temperature. Like I was looking this up, and like people who run like HVAC companies, people who install and build air conditioners, suggest that you don't try to make the temperature difference between outside and inside of your house much more than 20 degrees, because your air conditioner is just going to be running like crazy, and it's going to cause maintenance problems in the future, and your electricity bill is going to go through the fucking roof. If it's 100 degrees outside and you walk into a building where it's 78, that feels fantastic, because 78 is just like a normal temperature. Like here in Oakland, when it's 78 out, I walk outside, I'm like, oh man, what a great day. Right? 78 fucking rules. But I guess these people think it should be like 68 in people's houses or whatever, that it should be fucking freezing. People are just so stupid. So we're going to go back to this birthright citizenship discussion here with Laura Ingram talking about Chinese birth tourism. I almost said terrorism. Chinese birth tourism.
Here's Secretary Mullen on birth tourism. Listen here. The court is absolutely dead wrong on this situation. China and their tourist visas that they get to come into the United States or into our territories just simply to give birth. They'll come in the 8th month, maybe 1, 2, 3 weeks left, give birth here, have a child, then they move back to China, raise a person underneath a communist regime, even though they're a citizen of the United States, and they come back over here. They're stealing intellectual property, and it's absolutely been a national security issue.
Here's my sense just watching it, the arguments together than the decision this week. It's that more people are aware of this story than they've ever been before. Do they take another crack at birth tourism? And if so, how do you do it?
Yeah, well, you can do it. I think one of the things that we have to deal with China, and the president, I hope he's watching, as he always does, your show, maybe it's time to start reducing Chinese visas into the United States. They're overwhelmingly the country now that abuses this. There's an estimate from Hill leaders that it's about between 750,000 and 1.5 million Chinese birth tourism recipients in the United States. They're Chinese citizens. That means they can run for office. They get all of our benefits, get to go to our schools, scholarships. This has got to stop, and this has got to be a crackdown across the board. This is not rare, as the Hill wrote yesterday. This is rare that 26,000. That's a big business. That's a small estimate of the number of Chinese every year coming in. 26,000. The total number is probably about 3.5 million people now who've benefited from this. It is a complete scam, and it's a big business in foreign countries, and it's just got to stop.
It looks to me like they're going to crack down on it. Like they'll figure that out.
You can't do anything. You can't. I mean, you could just not let pregnant people that appear to be pregnant into the country, but I don't know. That would you'd probably end up having some fucking some problems in the courts with that. I don't know. It just seems like she's trying to say that there's 3.5 million basically fucking Chinese sleeper cells with U.S. citizenship or whatever. And I don't know if I believe that. That seems probably incorrect. I don't care that much. I mean, I don't give a shit about what country you're a citizen of or whatever, or where you give birth. You want to come here and give birth to a kid? I don't give a fuck. We got plenty of room. I don't care. But they're actually using migration as a weapon. It's a weapon against the United States. Here's Jesse Waters on the 5.
Jesse, how do you feel about this?
I'm angry.
Are you?
Alito said we blew it. He said in his dissent, this was one of the most important cases the court's ever seen, and we blew it. He and Thomas were basically like, yeah, this devalues and degrades U.S. citizenship because it opens it up for anchor babies and for birth tourists. Now, the Chinese communists could take their pregnant wife to Guam, have a baby, fly the baby back to Beijing with a U.S. passport, and then that baby, when he's older, can get U.S. welfare, he can vote. Technically, when he's 35, he could become president of the United States. That's the stupidest thing anyone ever thought of. Literally, the senator who put this out in the 19th century said it shouldn't involve foreigners, aliens, or families of ambassadors. Everybody agreed at the time. The guy that sponsored it, the guy that initiated it, the architect of this 14th Amendment, the AG, the president.
Well, that's wild. It wasn't written into there, was it?
Time Grant all said, yeah, no foreigners, no visitors. Well, this was also before airplanes. So no one could imagine enemies of the United States flying here to have babies that 18 years later they could use against us to sway elections, soak up welfare, and then steal our defense technology. Because that's what they do. They steal it. So I'm annoyed. And they're using migration as a weapon against us. And the court didn't protect us. And the Democrats are in cahoots with this. They like it. Because they like it for money and power. So obviously, we have to agree with the court's decision. Congress not going to do anything about it. And I think the DOJ has to ramp up prosecutions of birth tourism fraud. And Trump's got to deport even more, because this is demographic destruction.
Keep the border sealed.
Right.
So they keep talking about how the people that made the 14th Amendment didn't mean what it says, but it says that if you're born here, you are a citizen of the United States of America. That's what it says. It doesn't say your parents had to be citizens. It doesn't say that like they keep saying that this was just about that was only, not just, but only about former enslaved people, so that formerly enslaved people were full citizens. It didn't say that either, because it could have just easily said that. It says that if you're born here, you're a U.S. citizen. That's what that shit says. You can't do anything about it in the Congress. They tried to do something about it in the Supreme Court. I don't know. What's the fucking point of the Supreme Court if all of a sudden the Supreme Court's just overturning constitutional amendments? That seems like we would have a constitutional crisis if that happened, and the fucking government might crumble. Not the biggest fan in the world of the U.S. government, but I got aging parents, and if the U.S. government crumbles, they're in a world of hurt, and so am I as I get older. So I don't know if that's the way to do this. Like, they don't like the 14th Amendment. They've never liked the 13th or 14th Amendments ever. They hate it. They hate it. And yeah, somebody in chat just said demographic destruction, right? That's some fucking great replacement theory, fucking fascist bullshit. Hannity just thinks we shouldn't allow anybody into the country at all. We should just freeze all migration. That'll solve this problem. Although this isn't immigration. This is people on a visa, but whatever.
David, you're on the Sean Hannity show. Hi.
Hell yeah. Did I call?
What's going on?
I'm actually.
By the way, I think you have the next greatest NBA player of all time on your basketball team.
I agree.
What's going on?
He's a little better than Tim Duncan, I think, at this stage than when Duncan was. But anyway, I was going to tell you, thank you so much for your passion and patriotism for our country. I'm like a decade older than you, and it just, you're fighting the fight we don't get to fight as much as you do. I mean, you just have the passion for us that we want. You know, I've been on the council off and on for 18 years down here in the city, but I just one of the things I would like to say is they talked a little bit last night about it on Fox, but I'm not sure how passionate they are about it. Why can't the president since the Secretary of State office controls the tourist visas and all the different work visas and things like that, why can't they screen people, especially from like China or countries that want to, that are not our friends?
Oh, he means especially from countries where the people aren't white.
Like pregnant women coming in before they come in, and not allow them to come into our country, even on a tourist visa, work visa, anything like that.
Look, if I had my way, I would put a temporary freeze on all immigration until we put in place the proper measures to vet anybody that wants to come into the country. Now, I'd also, for the benefit of people that want to come here, I would streamline the process. I think it's too arduous and too difficult and burdensome and bureaucratic, but people should have to pay for their own vetting. I think people should prove they don't have radical associations. I think you need a health check in a post-COVID world, and I think you need to prove that you won't be a financial burden on the American people. You do those things, then welcome to America. That's my attitude. I don't care where you come from.
Yeah, I mean through the birthright thing where they're coming.
Oh, it's ridiculous. That was the worst. I'm not disappointed. I've come to expect it from Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett. I'm frankly just disgusted. Anyway, my friend, appreciate the call.
He's disgusted that they read the fucking Constitution and said, well, that's what the Constitution says. He's frustrated with them. Weren't these people like under Obama always talking about the Constitution and how Obama wanted to get rid of the Constitution? Does anybody remember this? Like Barack Hussein Obama, because they would always say his middle name, wants to suspend the Constitution. Anybody remember that Jade Helm thing where they're like, the United States is invading Western Texas. They're going to suspend the Constitution. Now they're just openly calling for suspending parts of the Constitution they don't like. Here's Megyn Kelly. She thinks that the United States should just kick out all the birthing-aged women.
But I want to ask you about something else in the news that relates to one of your favorite issues and also the law, and that is our DHS Secretary, Markwayne Mullin. It has really upset many on the right by saying the following to Jake Tapper on CNN in an effort to mollify his concerns about that temporary protected status Supreme Court decision from last week, where the High Court said, temporary means temporary. And if President Trump wants to revoke it for Haitians after 16 years or 18 years and Syrians after 16 years, he can do that. That's an executive branch function. He's allowed to do that.
I think if somebody's been here for 16 years, you should just be able to fucking rubber stamp that bitch and be like, you are a citizen now. That's a long time to fucking be somewhere.
Take it away. And, cue the meltdown from bleeding heart leftists. Oh, the Haitians, they need us. It's like, okay, go home. It's 18 years. So he goes on with Jake Tapper and says the following, which, again, Laura Ingraham, many conservatives are like, what? Watch.
Will you be deporting all of them? Will they be all deported back to their home countries, Haiti and Syria? And when will these deportations start? Will it be immediately?
Well, Jake, first of all, temporary protective status was never intended to be permanent. And there's a lot of people that came over here 15, 20 years ago underneath TPS that's already changed their status. The whole time these individuals have been here underneath the temporary protective status, they could have applied for a visa. They could have applied for LPR. They could have applied for different directions, but the status itself can be ended in its name itself by saying temporary. So these individuals have a couple of choices. They can try to apply for a permanent residence here. They can apply for a temporary visa if they choose to, or they can choose to go back. And if they want to go back, we'll help them with that. If I'm talking directly to the individuals with the temporary protected status, either try to fill out the paperwork and be here underneath a permanent status, or we'll help you get back to your country. We'll actually give you a plane ticket plus roughly $2,100 to help you reestablish when you get there.
Okay. And what people are upset about is him saying, you've got a couple of choices. You can apply still for permanent residence here.
Yes.
Or for a visa or go back. Whereas I think most people expected it was go back. You were here on a permission slip that's now been revoked. You did not do any of those applications while you were here on our invitation. And now that your status has been revoked, the answer is not for you to be doing applications. The answer is get out.
What a horrible person. No, I don't know. Let them fill out the paperwork. I don't know, man. If they've been here for, what's she saying, 16 years? Dude, those are Americans, right? I don't give a fuck with these people. Those are Americans. Like, don't kick them out. They're good. They're good. Probably got jobs, fucking integrated into their community, all that stuff. Don't worry though. Here's a Fox News with the Will Cain show. We just kick them all out. Kick them out now.
We're literally going to be dropping anchors away, which really pushes back against the Supreme Court. This idea, look, if you're pregnant and you're from a foreign nation, you know what? It's time for Congress to pass a law to say you can't come here. You can't have a baby on U.S. soil and exploit this loophole.
I think they could get around this with the legislation that says that if you're pregnant, you can't come here. Sure. But that'd be like really hard to enforce. I don't know. This all seems really dumb. This all seems like they're just racist. They just don't like people from other countries who aren't white, right? Because none of these people are talking about if somebody from Finland or fucking white South Africans come here. They're all for that. Have your white babies here. They just don't want people having non-white babies here. So Pride Month has come to an end. This is the first broadcast of this show since Pride Month has come to an end. I had a good time during Pride, but apparently Megyn Kelly did not enjoy it so much.
Okay, thankfully today is July 1st. And I think we're all heaving a sigh of relief because Pride Month is officially over. And no one wanted any more Pride Month. No sane person wanted any more Pride Month because of displays like this one. This is from New York City, from the Dyke March. You may have missed it, but it happened last week, SOT 30. That's nice. God is a dyke. That's what they're saying. Okay.
James Talrico would be proud. Wonderful.
James Talrico would.
Yes, wonderful.
The streets of New York. That was just one example. There's plenty more. This one is, let's see. Oh, yeah. This is Washington Square Park. This was disgusting. We saw this all over New York, where the new thing is to climb trees or poles and then twerk in the most X-rated way. Here's SOT 31.
Hell yeah.
This is also this happened just over the weekend. I think it was Sunday. On a lamppost. They're throwing bottles at cops. So it's going really well. The Pride celebrations were exactly what we anticipated they would be.
Yeah, I fucking light pole twerking. I'm for light pole twerking. People are just having fun, dude. They're just having fun and shaking that ass. Like, I don't know, if you got it, shake it. Like, I'm good with that, baby. So we have a palate cleanser this week. This is a BBC video from earlier this week about it's about what is Texas barbecue. And here is what is brisket? What is brisket, everyone?
What is brisket? You know, is it steak? Steak. Brisket or nah then. I went this barbecue place, went to this Texan barbecue place. Oh, they showed me around a lot. They have these big smokers. They cook it. They don't cook it on coal. They cook it on logs. It's wood fire. Now then, I was putting brisket on. 12 hours they smoke it for. And then they brought it out. He's chopping it up. I went, now then, don't be shy with that. I've waited a long time for this brisket. I held it up, put it in gob. Very suckling, very moist. So if you go out there, you have to wait 12 hours. So you put your order in and then you wait 12 hours for it to come? No, they don't
smoke it while you're sat in restaurant, Bob. They smoke it all day so you can have it when it's ready.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, he's like, you idiot. He's like, they put it in the smoker at the beginning of the day and then you just order it. Like, think, like, what an idiot. Like, oh, we make our soup from scratch, so you're gonna have to be here for like 6 hours. We make our you're gonna be here for 6 hours while we make our soup. No, they make it beforehand. They make it beforehand. They turn it into sandwiches. Brisket fucking rules. The one dude that was annoyed with the other guy, I am with him. Brisket fucking rules. So up next, this is a friend of Jack Abramoff, the disgraced Jack Abramoff. This is Ralph Reed talking about how Republicans might have some problems during the midterms. Shout out to Right Wing Watch. Could not do this show without organizations like Right Wing Watch.
In 130 days, the American people are going to go to the polls. And what I really believe is the most important midterm election of our lifetimes. I don't know where you were on Election Day in 2024, but I know where I was. I was in Palm Beach getting ready to go to what I hoped would be a victory party, and I was on my knees crying out to God, asking him to have mercy on our nation. And boy, did he ever. Did he ever. We didn't have to wait long for those results, did we? We all knew pretty early. But I am telling you, this election is different. They are coming. And they are coming in the biggest numbers we have ever seen in a midterm election. And they are coming with unlimited resources. Unlimited. Do you know, as we gather here tonight, that 4 million more Democrats have voted in primaries than Republicans? 12.6 million Democrats, 8.6 million Republicans.
That means nobody voted.
State of Georgia, more Democrats than Republicans voted in a gubernatorial primary for the first time in 24 years. And they didn't even have a contest. They didn't really even have a competitive primary. That's an indication of what's coming. So we need to leave here and rededicate ourselves that we will work even harder than we did in 2024. Because if we don't, they will win the House, they will win the Senate, and the Trump presidency will be over after 2 years. They will investigate him, they will impeach him, subpoenas will fly in this city like heat-seeking missiles.
Don't threaten us with a good time. Also, he's talking about the Democratic Party here? They're not going to do any of this.
And what Tulsi dealt with that deep state bureaucrat raised that to the 10th power. So we have a big job in front of us.
Yeah, I don't think the Democratic Party is like a feckless organization that isn't going to do any of that stuff. They're going to just keep hand-wringing about Donald Trump being uncouth. That's all they're going to do. This is Real America's Voice host Wayne Allen Root thinks there should be an executive order to fix the primaries, and I think he means fix the primaries.
In 2019, President Trump could not get Congress to fund the wall. No matter what he did, Congress would not give him any money to fund the wall. So I wrote a column at the Gateway Pundit, Jim Hoft's great site, and I sent it to
Jim Hoft. Go look up the stupidest man on the internet. Go Google that shit. It's going to give you result after result after result after result after result of Jim Hoft. There's going to be some Dave Rubin in there now, actually. But it's going to be mostly Jim Hoft of the Gateway Pundit.
My great buddies who sits next to President Trump at Mar-a-Lago all the time, handed to him, and President Trump read it in front of him, and the next day he announced it. What I said was that you need a national security emergency on the border, and that will give you the right to grab the money from the Pentagon budget and use it to build the wall without getting Congress's approval. And obviously, it was never taken to court. Nobody sued. It was never knocked out. It was automatically done. And he built the wall because I knew at that time what I know now, that national security emergency, Steve, cannot be challenged in court. That was a 1983 ruling by the Supreme Court when Reagan was president. If you declare a national security emergency, the president does, the only way for Democrats to overturn it is to get a 2/3 vote of both houses of Congress. And of course, no one is going to get a 2/3 vote of both houses of Congress. It's not possible. It can't happen. So President Trump got his wall, and that was my idea. Now I've come up.
Wait, where's the wall, though? There's no wall.
Hang on. Hang
on. Where's this codified that if he declares a national security emergency, the courts, it's impervious to court challenge, but you need from the legislature 2/3. Is that laid out in the ruling in 1983?
Yeah. I don't have the name of the ruling.
No, this guy's an idiot. You need to be able to impeach him, probably. Our republic is weak, and the president can just declare a national emergency and sort of become a dictator.
I researched it. John Goodman is my election researcher, and he did the research, and it's a 1983 ruling, and the Supreme Court ruled only way that you could possibly overturn a national security emergency by the president, a declaration by the president, is a 2/3 vote of both houses of Congress. So then I wrote months ago, this is starting in March. This is not new, Steve. I've been pounding this one since March. So 4 months now, I've been screaming on TV, on radio, on podcasts, a national security emergency on elections. Forget the SAVE Act. The Senate is not going to pass it. We have rhinos in the Senate. You can't get 50 votes. If you could get 50 votes plus the vice president, you'd still need to suspend the filibuster. You'd need a talking filibuster. They don't have the votes to do that either. You're just pounding sand. All these people I keep saying, SAVE Act, SAVE Act, Save America Act. Even President Trump, I'm telling you, you're not going to get the SAVE Act. And even if you did, this is the key point, because I love the SAVE Act. I would do anything to get the SAVE Act. But if you did somehow, by a miracle of God, by Houdini, by David Copperfield, pull a rabbit out of a hat, and at the last minute get the SAVE Act passed by the Senate, you would then get Mark Elias and his Democrat communist traitor lawyer team to immediately sue in court, and immediately courts would freeze it, and it would never be in place by the midterms.
Yeah, that's because the Constitution, that pesky document that you all used to keep saying that you were like lovers of, says that the states handle the elections. So that's probably how it would get held up by the courts, is because the Constitution says that the elections are to be handled by the states. So these people, they hate the Constitution of the United States. They just hate it. They hate it. They hate the way in which it, in some ways, distributes power so that they can't just take it by winning the presidency. Tim Pool has some ideas of what such an executive order might look like, if you could imagine that.
I believe with this ruling from the Supreme Court, it doesn't just allow late arriving ballots to be counted. It opens the door for everything under that interpretation, meaning states can now start making changes to their benefit in these Democrat areas. I believe that Democrats are likely going to have a tremendous victory at this point. One of the big reasons I believe the Republicans stood a chance at holding off the Democrats was Watson v. RNC. And thus, Trump impeachment likely. If Democrats win the midterms, Wilbur Ross warns they will absolutely impeach him. They will begin going after media personalities, independent individuals. We will see.
You mean like the administration is doing right now, trying to get like The View taken off the air? You mean like that? I don't love The View, but
excuse me. With Steve Bannon going to jail, with Peter Navarro, they are going to use lawfare to crush and destroy any and everyone. And maybe that's why Amy Coney Barrett ultimately said, F the United States. Elections don't exist. Not just her, I mean, Roberts as well, but she wrote the opinion. Newsweek reports, as Republicans fret over their party's chances in the upcoming midterm, a former official in Trump's cabinet has warned this year's elections carry extremely high. Wilbur Ross, who served as Commerce Secretary for the duration of Trump's first term, told Newsweek he has no doubt that Democrats will move to impeach the president should they win the House in November, and that securing the Senate would likely pave the way for a successful conviction. For the president, the stakes are extremely high, not just in terms of his legislative agenda. If the Democrats gain enough control over the House, I have no doubt that they will vote to impeach him, and they will also control the Senate. And if they also control the Senate, they will uphold the conviction.
Yeah, these people, this is not come on, the Democratic Party is feckless and useless. They're not doing any of this.
They need like 60 seats. That's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. Trump was impeached twice during his first term, this we know. After several leading Republican voices have said in recent weeks, they've been warning about it. Mike Johnson said this was a risk if Republicans lose the House, and said he believes Democrats would also use their control over the lower chamber to go after Trump's family. Half of you in this room will be targeted. I run the protection program. I'll take care of you, he told attendees at a Faith and Freedom Coalition conference on Friday. And Trump, too, has expressed concern about this possibility. You've got to win the midterms, he told the GOP, because if we don't win the midterms, they'll find a reason to impeach me.
There's plenty of those.
Is that Trump should suspend the USPS? Well, you can do a bunch of things. Trump should just shutter USPS by executive order.
What the fuck? Motherfucker is like, I don't know, man. They shouldn't do mail anymore.
In the week of the election. Just do it. There is no law that requires the post office to handle universal mail-in votes. There is a law allowing absentee ballots for overseas individuals and for members of the military and their family, not universal, which has fundamentally altered how elections actually happen. So Trump can actually just say, there's no law requiring me to have you do this, just don't do it. Trump could actually say, the post office shall not be participating in state elections. We don't do that. Do not handle mail-in votes. Absentee ballots are something totally different. Universal mail-in votes are when, say, California sends a ballot to every single house. Jersey does it too. A bunch of these blue states do. It's so they can cheat. Absentee is different. You got to request those, and you need specific reasons to do so. So Trump should just say no. We'll see what Trump is willing to do to win.
So this is not going to happen, I don't think. But the reason I think it's not going to happen is I think it's going to fuck them over in a way. Yeah, it's going to fuck them over. It's not going to fuck me over, right? Like the rural areas have a high mail-in voting. A high percentage of people in rural areas mail their ballot in. Here, where I live, I can walk around the corner and drop my ballot in a drop box. And that's pretty much the way that it works in almost every major city in the U.S. So the people in the cities aren't going to be negatively impacted by something like this, the same way that people in the rural areas would be negatively impacted by something like this. So I don't know if it's even a good idea. like from their side, I think it's a bad idea, like on principle, but I think they would end up shooting themselves in the foot with this. I think people would just not bother voting. So we've been pretty critical of Republican John Thune on this show because he's a fucking giant piece of shit. He's a ghoul. But we got a rare W for him. He didn't let Scott Pressler into one of his events. Here's Scott Pressler complaining about it on Benny Johnson's show.
Scott Pressler is joining our program, who's been advocating, of course, for the SAVE Act, but then also bringing some, what do Democrats call it? Good trouble to John Thune's South Dakota Republican Party convention, where John Thune ordered Scott Pressler effectively banned and sent law enforcement after Scott Pressler this weekend. Scott handled it like an absolute champ and a total consummate professional. It's our honor to welcome Scott back to the program right now.
So I talked hella shit to this guy on Twitter, and he never blocked me until I accused him of his hair being a wig, and then he blocked me.
Scott, glad
I don't think his hair is a wig. I just said that. It was fun.
Based on the sergeant at arms in South Dakota. I wasn't sure if you were going to be joining me live from a holding cell in the GOP state convention or not, but I'm glad that you got out alive there.
Hey, if they arrest me, I just hope that somebody films it. Thanks for.
Yes, you were probably trying to get arrested.
What happened? For those who weren't following along, Scott had I think we have some of the media loaded up here. Scott had an unbelievable weekend. Maybe you can just take it from the top, Scott.
Thank you. So this past weekend was the South Dakota Republican Party convention, and I have had plans to attend the convention for weeks now. I didn't even know that this dinner was happening until the day that I arrived. And I didn't even know that Senate Majority Leader Thune was confirmed for the dinner either. And I think those are two very important points. So on Thursday, I attend the convention with no incident. I'm shaking hands. I'm meeting voters. I'm respectfully observing what's going on there because I'm not a voter or a delegate. And so I'm told that if you have a ticket for the dinner, you're allowed to go. A very kind follower of mine gave me his ticket, foregoing the opportunity to see our Senate Majority Leader and to see our Department of Homeland Security Secretary, Mark.
Oh, wait, I don't think this might be just non-transferable tickets.
This ticket to you. So I show up, Benny, as a ticketed holder. They were not asking for anyone's IDs. They didn't have a manifest of names. They weren't taking roll call. It was, if you have a ticket, you are allowed in. When I get there, Benny, I'm told immediately you cannot come in. And I'm shown
yeah, because they don't like you.
Golden ticket to get in. And they say, no, you are not allowed. So I pull out my phone, and that video that has gone viral, I'm filming myself. I'm not pointing it at people. I'm not getting in anyone's space. I'm filming me. And when I say we're going to find out what happened and why I'm not allowed, the sergeant.
That's a private event and they don't like you?
Arms, Matt Bruner, decides to invade my space, come into my frame, and that's where you can hear the expletives and where I am cursed at while remaining calm and a consummate professional. And ultimately, we found out that it was Senate Majority Leader Thune's staff and his call that I was not allowed at the event. And furthermore, Benny, which I think is very important, there is one video that you'll see from the outside looking into the dinner. There is a photo of me on one of the tables. So when the comms director for Senate Majority Leader Thune says that press was not allowed, there was only one person that was not allowed to this event. And I believe that it was calculated. I believe that it was premeditated. And clearly, they didn't want me in that dinner where I was going to be a meek, quiet observer because I am pushing for the country-saving Save America Act.
The Republican Party chair explained on camera that John Thune sicked law enforcement, it was Secret Service, on you specifically to ban you from the dinner. That's on camera.
Yes. Yeah, Chairman Jim Eschenbaum, thanks to James Bialotta, recorded the conversation where the chairman, you heard him literally say, this was Senate Majority Leader Thune's Secret Service that said Scott Presler can't come in. And so while he made the public apology, I don't think it was really him responsible. This was a call from Senate Majority Leader Thune's staff. Scott Presler is not allowed.
I wouldn't allow him in either if I was a Republican, because anytime he goes anywhere to campaign for anybody who isn't Donald Trump, that person loses, right? So this guy's got like the stank of like everybody that I've campaigned for basically loses their election, loses their primary. So I wouldn't let him in either because he's just got the stank of like election loss, like all over him. Also, I don't know for sure, but I mean, there might be some homophobia at play there because he is openly gay. I don't know, but I wouldn't let him in, not because he's gay, but because everywhere he goes to campaign for somebody, they lose. So up next, we got FCC Chair Brendan Carr. If anybody here is a listener to the Verge cast, they have a whole segment on their show called Brendan Carr is a Dummy. And I'm not stealing that from them, but we got a couple clips of Brendan Carr talking about Disney and The View because he wants to review basically ABC's broadcast license because he doesn't like what the people on The View say, I think.
Discriminatory and invidious DEI discrimination, meaning there was evidence that was being brought to light that fell into a couple buckets that Disney was discriminating potentially based on race, gender, and other protected characteristics with respect to hiring, promoting, compensation, workplace opportunities. And Disney, of course, has its side of the story, and Disney is going to be able to put in all of its evidence. But we launched this investigation. And as that investigation was going along, the FCC's team reached the conclusion that Disney was being disingenuous in its responses. It wasn't being forthcoming, wasn't providing complete responses. So what we did was we took a step under the provisions of the Communications Act to call in for early renewal all of Disney's TV station licenses, and there's about 8 of them. And so I don't think that's been done in probably many, many years outside of that 1 week when we did it, which we did to another entity as well. And so Disney has now filed an application with the FCC asking us to renew their ABC TV stations that they owned. And in that filing, Disney has the burden to demonstrate that they've been operating in the public interest, or at least the FCC has to make an assessment of whether Disney has been operating in the public interest. And right now, in fact, this week, there are a number of parties that are filing petitions to deny, to get the FCC to not renew those Disney licenses. Similarly, so those are 2 issues. We have this DEI investigation into Disney. Separately, we now have this license proceeding. We're looking at their ability to continue to hold a broadcast TV license. And then third, we've been engaged in a discussion with The View, where the Disney ABC program with Whoopi Goldberg and other co-hosts is arguing that they are a bona fide news program under the statute. So the statute that Congress passed many, many decades ago said that if you're a broadcast TV show, generally speaking, you've got to comply with what are called political equal time rules. So if you have one candidate on, the station has to give an equal opportunity, comparable time and placement to another candidate. Now, Congress created an exception to that rule for things that Congress said in the statute are bona fide news shows. And one of the key features of that is if you're motivated by newsworthiness rather than bringing on politicians or questioning them to help or hurt their campaign. And so Disney right now is making the case to the FCC that The View should be classified as a bona fide news program, and therefore The View should be allowed to discriminate in the sense of picking, having one political candidate on while not complying with the equal time requirements that would apply to the TV station. So sort of a lot going on generally right now with respect to the FCC and Disney ABC. And so thought it'd be helpful to unpack some of those.
So as far as I know, this equal time provision, while still on the books, is sort of like a zombie regulation, or has been for a very long time. And the FCC didn't really bother with it. Like they didn't go after anybody for it or anything like that. It's still on the books, but it just wasn't really being enforced or looked at in any sort of meaningful way for like a pretty long time. I think since the 80s, there wasn't much action on it. But I guess now they want to use it again because they don't like what the people on The View have to say.
I agree with you. That's been many, many years, decades before the FCC has actually engaged with broadcasters and said to them, frankly, look, your licenses are not sacred cows. If there is nothing you can do to put your license in jeopardy and to, in fact, lose your license in the appropriate case, there's nothing you can do to cause that outcome, then it's not a license, it's a property right. And so I do think it's entirely legitimate for the FCC to be looking at these proceedings. Again, we haven't made our mind up. Disney's going to have every case to make its opportunity, but licenses aren't sacred cows, and it's perfectly okay for us to go down this path. I do think
this is all really dumb. He even said, he's like, the FCC hasn't done anything with this equal time provision in decades. It's because like, more, America, with all its faults, our media landscape is such that if somebody's running for office, they can get on TV, right? They can get on TV. Like, this didn't have to be enforced. Sort of like a hands-off thing where, like, people are running for office. Yeah, you get on TV. If you're like a viable candidate, there's no problem getting on TV. Trying to force a show like The View to, like, if you have one candidate on, you have to have the other candidate on. The View's like on in the middle of the fucking afternoon. It's like a fucking talk show. Like, let them have whatever guests they want on. Leave them alone. So, people have been talking about affordability, right? Well, if you can't afford toys or, anything really, you could just, like, I don't know, collect soda bottles.
I remember when I was a kid, there were things that I wanted that I couldn't afford. So I went and I collected soda bottles and I took them back to the convenience store and I got some money for something. Then when I was a teenager, I needed more money. So I went out and had a paper route and did other things. My 20s, there was lots of things I couldn't afford, but I worked harder to try to afford them. And even now, there are plenty of things I can't afford. Yeah. But, if you want them, you got to work for them because there is no such thing as a free lunch.
No, there isn't. And just.
But if the thing you can't afford is your rent or food or whatever, that starts to become a real fucking problem. This isn't like a teenager that can't go buy a toy. This is like the things you need to survive, like the hierarchy of needs. Here is, this guy is a MAGA. This is from Flashpoint. We've been kind of sleeping on Flashpoint. I've been meaning to look into it. This guy, Rick Green, who works at Flashpoint, is very, very happy with how Trump is handling all of the things that Trump is handling, and he should be congratulated.
It could be possible that this president is so good at stagecraft and at negotiation and at being able to stand strong, but yet offer a hand of free and balance all of that he could actually get oil prices down and work through this thing, thread the needle to get through the midterms where it doesn't affect the midterms as much, but yet not have to give up any more than he wants with Iran. And I'm kind of feeling like he's pulling that off. I mean, I'm honestly in awe at how well he's handling this. Now, who knows how it all turns out. This is a crazy regime. We don't even know for sure who to talk to when. So anything goes for sure. But I'm just amazed that we're still in the middle of this, and yet oil prices are coming down. The American people aren't as worried about it as they were. And I just think it's because the president is probably the most masterful negotiator and representative of an American government than we've ever seen in our history.
So true.
I mean, from the beginning to now, he's got to be the best at this.
Yeah, it's so true. And Eric, as we've watched President Trump through many situations, whether in his first term or this term, he is always one or two steps ahead. There's no doubt of that.
He certainly got me fooled. I would always put my money on President Trump. I agree with everything Rick said. I have total confidence in him. A lot of people don't, and they're wrong. I think that honestly, he is masterful, and I thank God that he is the president of the country at this time.
These people are all going to pretend they didn't know him in 5 years. Watch. These people are all going to be like Donald who? So up next, we got a rare thing happening here. This is Maria Bartiromo's show. And she's going to issue a retraction, which is pretty odd for something that happened on Fox News, if we're being honest here.
Meanwhile, there's this. Kevin O'Leary appeared as a guest on this program back on May 11th and discussed the ongoing controversy surrounding his planned data center project in Utah. Now, he made certain claims relating to the opponents of that project. Mr. O'Leary has now corrected the record and explained that he has no evidence that the Alliance for a Better Utah, Elevate Strategies, Josh Cantor, Taylor Knuth, or Gabrielle Finlayson are funded by China or the Chinese Communist Party. Fox News Media is likely likewise aware of no evidence that they are funded by or acting at the direction of or in coordination with Chinese interests in opposing Kevin O'Leary's projects. Fox News Media apologizes for the error. We'll be right back.
Everybody was like, fuck, we're getting sued again. Oh, man, that'd have been great if those fucking, because those were just like, they looked like they were like early 20s. There were these two young women in early 20s. That'd have been great if they took like fucking 30 or $50 million from Kevin O'Leary in a defamation case or whatever, because he was going on all kind of news programs saying that homegirls were working for the Chinese Communist Party and shit. We ran a video of them and they just, I don't know, they were just like white girls from Utah. They were like early 20s and they just like, this seems like a bad idea. So there's no evidence that they're working for the Chinese Communist Party. And it would be very funny if they were to cash in on these people lying about them. But unfortunately, these people issued retractions. When people issue retractions, it actually makes it pretty hard to collect on any kind of defamation or libel case here in the United States. Here is Lance Wallnau, who we have a history watching on this show. He, if you could imagine this, does not like Zoran Mamdani. I don't know if you would have guessed that a right-wing ghoul like Lance Wallnau didn't like Mamdani, but here you go.
He is the charismatic smiling face of the Marxist revolution. And it's like the devil, disguises himself as an angel of light. So cute, so photogenic. And then, he brings out the other side of the Bolshevik revolution, which invariably is going to be the destruction of Christians and Jews and the collapse of your economy.
Did that guy just call Mamdani cute? He's got a little crush on Mamdani. That's cute. The guy's just like, oh, Mamdani, he cute. Good for him. Good for him. Comfortable with one's own masculinity there. Up next, this is Jason Rappert, who I don't think that we've covered before. The founding fathers fought and died, or the founding fathers risked their lives, but not for this, not for what we got going on now. Man, what a waste of time. Look what we got going on now.
Look, I'm telling you, I'm wearing this United States flag hat today because we're coming up on the 250th anniversary. But you know what I want you to know right now from the bottom of my heart? Our founding fathers did not give their lives, risk their families, give up their fortunes so that radical Islamists could come to this nation and take God out of our country. They did not sacrifice so that LGBTQ activists could run around looking like nut jobs.
Actually, I think, yes, probably that is what they wanted. Some version of that.
Little boys and the breast off of little girls. That's not what our founding fathers died for.
Oh, he's talking about top surgery. Like, little girls don't have breasts, so getting top surgery wouldn't work. These people are just shut the fuck up. Leave people alone. The founding fathers probably couldn't have fathomed like a trans acceptance or gay acceptance. But I mean, I don't know. Pretty clear about everybody having the same rights in this country. So, here we go. Oh. No. Oh man, this video. So there's a praise the Lord, pass the ammunition, but unfortunately the fucking video for this is paywalled. I didn't even go look. So I guess we'll skip the one that said praise the Lord, pass the ammunition because it's paywalled. And I'm as much as I like the Christian nightmares, content I'm not signing up for right now in the middle of a show. So this is ignore the First Amendment. The U.S. is, I've never heard this one. Specifically, it is a Presbyterian nation. Not just Christian, but specifically Presbyterian. Shout out to Right Wing Watch.
Truth is on our side. And by the way, there is no, nor could there be, an existential threat to democracy. Why? Because we're not a democracy. We're a Judeo-Christian representative constitutional republic.
Which is a type of democracy.
Actually, I don't know if you know this, America has a Presbyterian form of government. Just like there's pastors, teachers, and elders, well, there is an executive branch, a legislative branch, and a judicial branch. Our three-tiered form of government, with checks and balances and accountability, we were really modeled after the ecclesiology of the Presbyterian Church. You know who said that? Our first president, George Washington. So let's calmly disagree with the mantra that democracy is under a threat.
So, a republic is a form of democratic government where you elect representatives. So it is a form of democracy. So these people are just stupid. They're splitting kind of dumb hairs. Okay, so we're getting close to red light here, which is good because I can't wait to change the color of the lights and get a little more casual mode around here. But here's the Palantir CEO. I got 2 clips of the Palantir CEO, Alex Karp, on CNBC. This guy, man, if this guy wasn't rich, he would be in a fucking mental institution with fucking Eric Weinstein, who would also be there if he wasn't rich. Check this guy out.
You get to control the weights. Are we really going to outsource the battlefield of this country to the consensus view in Silicon Valley? That is effing insane. And by the way, every single enterprise in this country in private, a lot of them don't want to speak in public because it gets outsourced to the neurodivergent crazy person that apparently is on drugs, the one thing I don't do. Okay, so that's my role. But
this guy's like, we've seen this guy so zooted. Like, we've seen this guy at events where the dude, he was, I don't know what the fuck kind of fucking drugs that I don't have access to or whatever that he was on. I've seen him before. That dude was fucking zooted. So here's like the end of that segment, and he doesn't really notice that he thinks like it's over. I'm thinking, he thinks it's over. And it's not over. He's still on camera. And so he's like, just not paying any attention to what's going on. There's clear indications when you're on a soundstage like this, whether or not the camera is hot, right? Whether or not you were broadcasting. There are clear indications. One, you were probably told that, like, hey, when this light is red or whatever, you are on the air and you are live. You don't want people not knowing that they're live. It's not good for your show. It's not good for them. There are clear indications whether or not you were live. This guy just couldn't be fussed to look at any of them, I suppose.
interest. Do I think Iran's been degraded? Yes. Are there things that I don't think are in the public space that would be comforting to people? If they are, yes. And I'll leave it at that.
Wow. Pretty great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take
you
care.
Don't have to get up from the seat yet.
You know, I just I feel like I'm going to be kicked out of the room.
No. Never. Wide-ranging conversation.
Yeah.
We really appreciate your time.
Yeah.
No, not like your party. We want you to stay. Can you come back tomorrow?
Yeah, no, I'll come back. I really do appreciate you
Talk
guys.
them into it.
Yeah. You know, the thing I actually like about you guys the most when I watch you is just that you actually, and it's very hard to pull this off, you actually have divergent opinions. And somehow you guys stay together.
This is true.
We're still on camera.
Yeah. Oh yeah, well great. That's true. You actually, it's honestly, it's so boring, the other stuff. And again, I get kicked out of these rooms. Even if I agreed with you, I would try to disagree with you. It's more fun.
Seema, thank you for bringing Alex here this morning. Yeah. Thank you for your perspective on this. Alex, thank you. We appreciate it very, very much. Thanks.
People live in echo chambers.
It's so offended by divergent opinion. It's like, what do you, it's so crazy. And I'll tell you, we're off camera now?
No, we're still going.
Do you want me to read this Trump stuff or not?
You know.
Okay, hold on, Alex.
This
This fucking rules.
President Trump was just speaking to reporters at Joint Base Andrews. He's preparing to take his first flight on the Qatari gifted Air Force One. He's en route to North Dakota for the opening of Teddy Roosevelt's presidential library. He addressed yesterday's financial disclosures, saying everyone is profiting, including him, because the stock market is up.
The smartest man in the world can't look and fucking find out if there's like the on-air light is lit up, right? They probably have one of those kind of old school like on-air lights, I would assume. You can't like look and see if it's lit up. Smartest man in the world. Smartest man in the world. We got one more. This is a clip from the Joe Rogan show. I try not to run a lot of Joe Rogan around here. Don't like Joe Rogan. Don't like the people that watch Joe Rogan. And I don't like the guests he has on generally, because he's never going to have anybody on who might tell him that he's wrong or anything like that. But here is Joe Rogan. He's claiming maybe that USAID, was propping up the fucking rap music industry. A weird fucking thing to claim.
Like, this is crazy. People have long said that rap music, even though, listen, you love hip hop. I know you just got back from Kanye West. I'm a huge hip hop fan.
We got to talk about that at some point.
We definitely do. I love hip hop. But there's some people that believe that gangsta...
Is that guy blowing a stove in Joe Rogan's studio?
When it came about in the 1980s, was a part of the push to popularize it and produce it, was a part of the government, some faction of the government, some intelligence agencies wanting to create more crime, wanting to fill more private prisons, wanting to erode the fabric of society so they could push for more laws to keep you safer. This is like one of the most tinfoil-y of tinfoil hat conspiracies. But people are pointing out that right now is like one of the rare times where no rap music is on the charts.
Yeah.
And they're saying, well, how does this coincide with USAID? Was USAID like actively promoting rap music? Was that one of the reasons why rap music was so popular? Mm-hmm. Is that real? That can't be real.
Maybe back in the day. It seems like that would be more manipulative. I don't see how.
I believed that until I heard mumble rap. And I'm like, this is not real. This is trying to make people stupid.
Yeah.
There's something about this, you know.
Right.
So, and obviously some artists are better at it than others. Some of them are fun the way they do it. But I'm saying there's a giant chunk of them that are inaudible. Mm-hmm. You don't know what they're like. Who's into this?
Oh, almost all of them are inaudible.
Like what's going on there? Imagine if that was it. It was like people heard Nas and like, this guy's too smart. We got to dumb it down a little.
Right.
We got to promote some people that can barely talk.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Yo, like there's hip hop isn't charting right now. There's fucking like, I don't know, maybe like big hip hop artists put out their last album like a year ago and they're like not putting hip hop out right now. Maybe there's maybe other styles of music, maybe pop. I'm not into like whatever music is charting or whatever. Maybe like dance music is more popular right now, and so the hip hop stuff isn't charting as much. There's any fucking number of things could be going on, and not for nothing. You look at the Hot 100. There's certainly hip hop music in the Hot 100 right now. There is no way that there's no hip hop in the Hot 100 right now. There's just no way. This is just incorrect. But the idea that like USAID was propping up the hip hop industry, like get out of here. Get the whole fuck out of here. It's so dumb. Anyway, that's the podcast part of the show. Thanks everybody for hanging out during the podcast recording, and thanks we had some subs, a little hype train was going on in there. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're listening on the podcast, check us out live sometime. That's twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. Support the project at eplex.store or at patreon.com/Echoplex. We're going to go into red light. So if you're watching live, you know the deal. Just hang out. I'm going to change the color of the lights in here, pour myself a cocktail. And if you are listening to the podcast and you want to know what happens after that, you can sign up at the $5 level or higher at eplex.store, patreon.com/Echoplex, and you will get the audio and video of this in your inbox. I would say the next morning, but let's not lie. It would be the next afternoon, a day or two before the main podcast comes out. This is Boomers by Periscope, and I'll see everybody in red light.